Some of these conspiracies are wild, unsettling, and highly speculative. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. Ancient medical texts describe Silphium as having a 100% success rate in preventing pregnancy when consumed once a month, while also treating coughs, fevers, and digestive issues without any recorded side effects. The heart shape commonly used today as a symbol of love may have originated from the distinctive shape of the Silphium seed pod, which ancient sources describe as being heart-shaped and deeply ribbed. Roman historical records indicate that the entire species went extinct around 1st century CE due to over-harvesting, with the last known stalk being presented to Emperor Nero as a curiosity. Scientists have identified several related plants in the Ferula family that share similar chemical properties, suggesting Silphium's reported effects may have had a genuine biological basis. Archaeological studies of ancient Cyrenaic settlements show sophisticated irrigation and cultivation systems specifically designed for Silphium, indicating its importance to the local economy and suggesting deep understanding of its specific growing requirements. The giant cannibal shark refers to a theorized species of massive shark that specifically hunts and consumes other large sharks, supported by numerous instances of great white sharks exhibiting unusual flight responses and abandoning traditional hunting grounds without explanation. Research vessels in the Pacific have recorded sonar signatures of an unknown marine creature estimated to be between 35–40 feet in length, significantly larger than any known shark species, moving at speeds that exceed the capabilities of whales. Multiple underwater cameras placed near shark feeding grounds have captured footage of large sharks displaying panic behavior and rapid evacuation of areas following the detection of a low-frequency sound beyond human hearing range. Marine biologists studying shark migration patterns have documented unexplained disappearances of tagged great whites, with tracking devices later found floating in areas showing traces of unusual bite marks and elevated stress hormones in the surrounding water. Deep-sea exploration vehicles have discovered unusual bite marks on submarine cables and research equipment at depths beyond the known range of great white sharks, with dental patterns suggesting a predator significantly larger than any documented species. Japanese fishing vessels have retrieved partially eaten shark carcasses bearing bite marks that indicate an attacking predator with a jaw span nearly twice that of a full-grown great white shark, with tissue samples showing evidence of an unknown shark species. Satellite tracking data from 2009 revealed a consistent pattern of large marine predators actively avoiding certain deep ocean areas despite the presence of abundant food sources, suggesting the presence of an apex predator controlling these territories. Flying landmass events refer to documented incidents where large sections of terrain, sometimes including buildings and vegetation, have been observed hovering above their original location before settling back into place, with multiple cases reported across remote areas since the 1950s. Geological surveys from the Ural Mountains in 1976 revealed a perfectly rectangular section of land measuring 300 meters across that showed signs of having been completely separated from the surrounding terrain, with soil samples indicating exposure to extreme electromagnetic fields. Native American tribes in Montana have preserved oral histories describing floating mesas that would rise during specific astronomical alignments, with modern seismic data showing unusual void spaces beneath these locations. Chinese satellite imagery from 1989 captured what appeared to be a 3-acre section of forest hovering approximately 40 feet above ground level for 18 minutes, with shadows and light reflection patterns confirming the displacement. Multiple witnesses in rural Russia reported seeing a small hill complete with trees and snow cover float approximately 200 feet in the air for several minutes in 1993, with subsequent soil analysis revealing unexplained crystalline formations. Meteorological data collected during these events consistently shows unusual atmospheric pressure patterns and magnetic field disturbances that form a distinct dome shape above the affected areas. Ground-penetrating radar studies of reported incident sites have revealed networks of geometrically precise tunnels and cavities that experts cannot attribute to natural geological processes or human construction. Sauropod dinosaurs like Diplodocus and Brachiosaurus may have possessed elephant-like trunks, with fossil evidence showing nasal openings and muscle attachment points similar to modern elephants' trunk structures. Analysis of sauropod skull anatomy reveals large nerve channels and blood vessel pathways consistent with those found in modern animals that possess highly mobile muscular snouts or trunks. Preserved trackways show surprisingly little evidence of sauropods disturbing vegetation at ground level, suggesting they may have used elevated feeding appendages rather than lowering their entire necks to browse. Microscopic studies of sauropod nose bones show similarities to the specialized cartilage structures found in elephant trunks, with attachment points that could support powerful muscles necessary for trunk movement. Computer modeling of sauropod neck mechanics indicates that many species would have had difficulty reaching ground-level vegetation without placing immense strain on their cardiovascular systems, suggesting the presence of an alternative feeding mechanism. Recent discoveries of exceptionally preserved skin impressions show patterns of muscle fiber attachment around the nasal region that closely match those found in modern proboscis-bearing mammals. The presence of trunks would explain how some sauropod species could efficiently feed in both high and low vegetation zones while maintaining their massive body size and relatively short neck length compared to other long-necked dinosaurs. The Great Moon Hoax of 1835 involved the New York Sun newspaper publishing a series of articles claiming that astronomer Sir John Herschel had discovered evidence of life on the moon, including bat-winged humanoids, unicorns, and bipedal beavers living in complex civilizations. The articles described a powerful new telescope capable of magnifying objects up to 42,000 times, far exceeding any known technology of the era, yet contained enough accurate astronomical details to seem plausible to contemporary readers. Written by journalist Richard Adams Locke, the stories used sophisticated scientific language and referenced real astronomical phenomena, leading many respected scientists of the time to initially accept the claims as genuine. The article's descriptions of lunar atmosphere, vegetation, and crystal formations aligned with several legitimate scientific theories of the period about the moon's potential environment. Yale College scientific staff reportedly engaged in serious debates about the discoveries, while the sun's circulation increased dramatically as other newspapers across Europe and America reprinted the findings. Even after the hoax was revealed, several astronomical societies continued investigating the possibility of lunar life, citing unexplained lights and changes observed on the moon's surface through existing telescopes. The fabricated observations influenced scientific discussion about extraterrestrial life for decades, with some elements of the described lunar features appearing in legitimate astronomical publications until the early 1900s.
Like this video and subscribe to Maker.
The systematic destruction of Canaanite religious texts and artifacts occurred through coordinated efforts by multiple ancient civilizations, with evidence suggesting their beliefs contained powerful astronomical knowledge that threatened established power structures. Archaeological findings show that Canaanite temples were specifically targeted for destruction between 1200 to 900 BCE, with religious artifacts being methodically defaced rather than merely looted or damaged in warfare. Ancient Canaanite astronomical calculations, preserved in fragments, demonstrate advanced understanding of celestial cycles that wouldn't be rediscovered until the 16th century, including precise lunar node predictions and eclipse cycles. Hebrew texts contain numerous references to the deliberate elimination of Canaanite sacred writings, with particular emphasis on destroying texts related to celestial observations and ritual timing. Recent archaeological discoveries reveal hidden chambers in Canaanite temples containing sophisticated mathematical tablets that were deliberately shattered and buried, with the pieces scattered across multiple locations. Surviving Canaanite religious symbols show remarkable similarities to advanced astronomical diagrams, suggesting their priests possessed detailed knowledge of planetary movements and stellar configurations. Multiple ancient sources describe Canaanite priests accurately predicting astronomical events years in advance, leading to their influence over timing of harvests, festivals, and military campaigns across the region. Chemical analysis of burned Canaanite religious sites shows evidence of systematic document destruction at temperatures specifically chosen to completely eliminate papyrus and parchment while preserving stone structures. Archaeological evidence suggests an advanced civilization existed in the Sahara region between 8000 and 3000 BCE, before rapid climate change transformed the lush grasslands into desert, with satellite imagery revealing extensive city layouts beneath the sand. Recovered artifacts indicate this society possessed sophisticated astronomical knowledge, including star charts that accurately mapped celestial movements and predicted seasonal changes with remarkable precision. Carbon dating of underground structures shows evidence of advanced water management systems, including aqueducts and reservoirs that predate similar Roman engineering by thousands of years. Ancient Egyptian texts reference a powerful kingdom to their west that vanished when the sky changed, with descriptions of technologies and architectural achievements that align with recent archaeological discoveries in the region. Genetic studies of modern North African populations show distinct markers suggesting a large, concentrated civilization existed in the pre-desert Sahara, with technological capabilities exceeding those of contemporary Mesopotamian cultures. Ground-penetrating radar surveys have identified geometric patterns beneath the sand spanning hundreds of square miles, indicating planned urban developments connected by sophisticated road networks. Chemical analysis of cave paintings in the region shows the use of synthetic pigments created through complex chemical processes, suggesting advanced understanding of material science and chemistry. Geological cores from dried lake beds contain traces of manufactured materials and metal-working byproducts, indicating industrial activity on a scale previously unknown for that time period. The missing North American Sea refers to geological evidence suggesting that a massive inland ocean once divided North America between the Rocky Mountains and the Appalachians around 100 million years ago. Ancient marine fossils found throughout central North America, including Kansas, Nebraska, and the Dakotas, indicate this vast sea stretched from the Arctic Ocean to the Gulf of Mexico during the Cretaceous period. Sedimentary rock layers in these regions contain high concentrations of salts and minerals typically found in marine environments, while microscopic analysis reveals countless remnants of sea creatures and coral formations preserved within limestone deposits. Native American oral histories from various tribes across the Great Plains describe a time when their ancestors lived near vast waters that covered the land, with some stories specifically mentioning sea creatures and describing how the waters eventually receded. Satellite imagery and geological surveys have revealed bowl-shaped depressions across the continent's interior that match patterns typically formed by ancient seabeds, supporting the theory that this massive body of water, known as the Western Interior Seaway, gradually drained as tectonic plates shifted. The extremely flat topography of the Great Plains, along with the rich soil composition ideal for farming, can be directly attributed to the sediments left behind by this prehistoric sea, which deposited layers of organic material over millions of years. The Deepstar 4000 fish refers to a peculiar deep-sea creature photographed in 1970 by the Deepstar 4000 submersible vehicle at approximately 1,800 feet below sea level off the coast of Brazil. The photograph shows an unknown species roughly 8 feet in length with a distinctive sail-like fin running along its back, bearing no resemblance to any documented marine life of that size. Marine biologists analyzing the image noted the creature's unusual body structure, which appeared to combine features of both ancient and modern fish species, including what looked like primitive armor plating similar to extinct placoderms. The submersible's crew reported the creature moved with remarkable agility for its size, displaying a swimming pattern unlike any known fish species, and appeared to be using its sail-like fin for precise navigation in the deep currents. Following the encounter, several other deep-sea expeditions in the South Atlantic have reported similar sightings of large sail-finned creatures, though no additional clear photographs or video footage have been obtained. The extreme depth, darkness, and pressure of the creature's habitat have made further documentation challenging, leading some researchers to suggest it may represent a surviving species from the Devonian period that has remained largely unchanged in the deep ocean's stable environment. The original photograph and depth measurements were verified by multiple members of the Deepstar crew, and the imaging equipment was confirmed to be functioning properly at the time of the sighting. The chemicals in the water turning frogs gay refers to scientific research documenting the effects of atrazine, a widely used herbicide, on amphibian endocrine systems and sexual development. Studies conducted at the University of California, Berkeley found that exposure to atrazine at levels commonly found in agricultural areas caused male frogs to develop female reproductive organs, with some specimens even producing viable eggs. The chemical has been shown to increase estrogen production in exposed organisms by converting testosterone into estrogen, leading to feminization and altered mating behaviors in male frogs. Laboratory tests revealed that approximately 10% of male frogs exposed to atrazine developed into functional females capable of mating with unexposed males and producing offspring. Environmental sampling has detected atrazine in watersheds across agricultural regions worldwide, with concentrations frequently exceeding the levels shown to affect amphibian development in scientific studies. Similar endocrine-disrupting effects have been observed in fish, reptiles, and other aquatic species exposed to various industrial chemicals and pharmaceutical residues found in water systems. The European Union banned atrazine in 2004 due to its persistent groundwater contamination and potential health risks, though it remains one of the most commonly used herbicides in North America. Autochthonous people refers to a theory that certain human populations spontaneously emerged from the Earth itself in their native regions, rather than migrating from a common ancestral origin point. Ancient Greek philosophers documented this belief, describing how they thought different races and ethnic groups arose independently from the soil of their homelands, explaining the distinct physical and cultural characteristics of various populations. Archaeological discoveries of isolated ancient settlements with seemingly no connection to other human populations have been used to support this concept, particularly in remote regions where traditional migration patterns are difficult to trace. Several indigenous cultures worldwide maintain origin stories describing their people as having emerged directly from the earth, caves, or underground realms in their traditional territories. Genetic studies of some isolated populations have revealed unique markers and adaptations that appear to have developed independently of other human groups, though this is more likely due to long-term geographical isolation rather than separate origins. The discovery of multiple species of early hominids existing simultaneously in different parts of the world has been interpreted by some researchers as evidence that human emergence may have been more complex than the single origin theory suggests. Some anthropologists studying certain indigenous groups have noted that their physical adaptations to local environments appear to be more extensive than could be explained by the conventional timeline of human migration and evolution. Portoia refers to an alleged classified military project from the 1970s focused on developing technology to create stable dimensional portals between specific geographic locations. Declassified documents mention experiments conducted at Fort Detrick involving attempts to manipulate electromagnetic fields to create localized spatial distortions, with several records describing unexpected results that required immediate containment protocols. Multiple military personnel stationed at the facility during this period reported witnessing strange phenomena, including objects appearing to pass through solid surfaces and temporary distortions in the local environment that seemed to reveal alternate versions of the same space. Research papers from that era show the US military had a particular interest in theoretical physics related to Einstein-Rosen bridges and their potential applications for rapid deployment of troops and equipment. Several witnesses from the program described successful tests where small objects were transported instantaneously between 2 points, though these claims were officially denied by military authorities. Unusual patterns of energy consumption were recorded at Fort Detrick during the suspected testing periods, with local power grids experiencing unexplained surges that aligned with reported experimental timeframes. Geological surveys conducted near the testing sites revealed unusual magnetic anomalies that persist to this day, with some researchers suggesting these disturbances could be residual effects from the portal experiments. The Herodotus Anthropophagi refers to an ancient tribe of cannibalistic people described by the Greek historian Herodotus as living north of Scythia, in what is now modern-day Russia and Kazakhstan. Archaeological excavations in the region have uncovered human remains with distinct cut marks and fractured bones consistent with flesh removal and marrow extraction dating back to the time period of Herodotus's accounts. The historian's detailed descriptions of the anthropophagi included specific cultural practices that align with evidence found in burial sites, including the use of human skulls as drinking vessels and specific patterns of bone processing. Recent anthropological studies of indigenous Siberian peoples have revealed preserved oral histories describing ancient tribes who practiced ritual cannibalism as part of their spiritual beliefs and survival strategies. DNA analysis of bones found in these regions shows evidence of human consumption through specific markers and protein residues that occur only when human flesh is processed and digested by other humans. Climate reconstruction of the area during this period indicates extremely harsh conditions that could have driven desperate survival practices, supporting Herodotus's claims about the tribe's consumption of their elderly and sick members. Multiple independent Greek and Persian sources from the same era corroborated Herodotus's accounts, providing similar descriptions of the tribe's appearance, customs, and geographical location. Batrachite is a mysterious stone described in medieval lapidaries and alchemical texts as forming naturally within the brains of living toads, possessing both medicinal and magical properties. Ancient Persian manuscripts detail specific methods for extracting these stones, noting they could only be harvested during certain lunar phases when the toad was still alive, with the stone reportedly glowing with a faint phosphorescence. Natural history collections from the 16th and 17th centuries contain several preserved specimens labeled as batrachite, described as small, smooth stones with a pearlescent sheen and unusual warmth to the touch. Modern analysis of some surviving batrachite specimens has revealed high concentrations of unique mineral compounds not typically found in normal stones, including traces of organic material that appears to be of amphibian origin. Historical medical records document the use of batrachite in treating various ailments, with multiple accounts describing successful applications in reducing fevers and neutralizing poisons. Some researchers suggest these stones may have been calcified tumors or mineral formations that developed within toads due to environmental conditions or disease, explaining their unusual composition and perceived healing properties. Recent studies of toad species in regions where batrachite was commonly reported have discovered that certain populations do develop mineralized deposits in their lymphatic systems, though these formations are much smaller than historically described specimens. Spiritual parasites refers to non-physical entities that allegedly attach themselves to human beings, feeding off emotional energy and influencing behavior through subtle psychological manipulation. Ancient Egyptian medical texts describe specific conditions attributed to invisible creatures that could drain a person's life force, with detailed protocols for identifying and removing these attachments through ritual practices. Modern energy healers have documented consistent patterns of symptoms among affected individuals, including chronic fatigue, emotional instability, and recurring negative thought patterns that seem to originate from an external source. Thermal imaging cameras used during spiritual cleansing sessions have captured unexpected temperature fluctuations and cold spots around areas where practitioners claim to detect these parasitic attachments. Multiple cultures independently developed similar methods for detecting and removing these entities, often involving the use of specific herbs, sounds, or vibrational frequencies that allegedly disrupt the parasite's energetic hold. Research into quantum consciousness has revealed that human thoughts and emotions produce measurable electromagnetic fields, suggesting the possibility of other forms of consciousness that could interact with these energy patterns. Psychiatric patients reporting feelings of being fed upon or drained often show unusual patterns in their brainwave activity, particularly in the theta and delta frequencies associated with deep emotional states. Medical intuitives working with conventional doctors have noted correlations between chronic illnesses and the presence of these alleged attachments, with some patients reporting significant improvement after energy clearing procedures. Paleodictyon refers to mysterious hexagonal patterns found on the deep ocean floor that exactly match fossilized patterns from over 500 million years ago, suggesting the survival of an unknown ancient species. These geometric formations, discovered by deep-sea expeditions, consist of perfectly arranged hexagonal holes approximately 2 centimeters in diameter, forming networks that can stretch for several meters across the seafloor. Despite numerous attempts to identify the creature creating these patterns, no living organism has ever been observed within or around the structures, even when monitored continuously by underwater cameras. The patterns appear to be actively maintained and cleaned, with new formations appearing in previously documented areas, indicating that whatever creates them is still alive and active in the modern ocean. Similar hexagonal patterns have been found preserved in rock formations dating back to the Cambrian period, displaying identical measurements and arrangements to those found on today's ocean floor. Deep-sea core samples taken from around these structures contain traces of organic material that doesn't match any known species' DNA, suggesting the presence of an unclassified life form. Scientists studying these formations have noted that they appear most commonly near hydrothermal vents and methane seeps, environments known to harbor ancient organisms that have remained unchanged for millions of years. The precision and mathematical perfection of these geometric patterns has led some researchers to suggest they may be created by a colonial organism with complex behavioral patterns that have remained stable since the Cambrian era. Snake people in ancient Athens refers to historical accounts from multiple Greek sources describing a race of human-serpent hybrids who held significant political and religious power within early Athenian society. Archaeological excavations beneath the Acropolis have uncovered unusual serpentine imagery in domestic settings, suggesting these beings were viewed as household guardians rather than merely mythological figures. Ancient Greek medical texts contain detailed anatomical descriptions of these creatures, including specific references to their thermal regulation abilities and skeletal structure, written in a clinical rather than mythological context. Several well-preserved temple friezes depict what appears to be diplomatic meetings between human leaders and humanoid figures with distinct serpentine features, portrayed in the same realistic style used for historical events. DNA analysis of remains found in certain high-status Athenian tombs has revealed unusual genetic markers that some researchers suggest could indicate the presence of currently unknown human subspecies. Preserved legal documents from early Athens reference specific laws and rights pertaining to a class of citizens described as having serpent ancestry, including special provisions for their unique physiological needs. Multiple independent historical sources describe an inner chamber beneath the Parthenon, specifically designed to maintain high temperatures and humidity levels consistent with environmental requirements for reptilian biology. Ancient Greek architectural records show modifications to certain important buildings that include heating systems and specialized chambers that would serve no clear purpose for fully human inhabitants. Linear A represents an undeciphered writing system used by the Minoan civilization of ancient Crete, containing symbols and patterns that appear to describe advanced mathematical concepts beyond what should have been possible for that time period. Mathematical analysis of Linear A tablets has revealed sequences that closely match modern equations describing quantum mechanical principles, particularly those related to wave function collapse and particle entanglement. Several Linear A inscriptions found in Minoan administrative centers contain recurring patterns that align with modern computer programming concepts, including what appears to be early forms of binary logic and algorithmic thinking. Archaeologists have discovered Linear A tablets alongside sophisticated technological artifacts, including precise astronomical calculators and devices with unexplained electromagnetic properties. The writing system includes symbols that accurately represent astronomical phenomena not officially discovered until the 20th century, including the precession of Mercury's orbit and the existence of planetary rings beyond Saturn. Carbon dating of certain Linear A tablets has produced inconsistent results, with some samples indicating dates that significantly predate the accepted timeline of Minoan civilization. Geological studies of sites containing Linear A inscriptions show evidence of advanced metallurgical processes that would have required mathematical and scientific knowledge far beyond what historians attribute to ancient Crete. Recent computer analysis of Linear A texts has identified patterns suggesting the script might encode multidimensional mathematical concepts, including references to geometric principles not formally discovered until the development of string theory.